Hey everyone, welcome back to High Ground Podcast. Once again joined by myself and Landon. We're going to jump right into it. Landon, what are we talking about?
We are talking about The Life of Chuck. We're going to be reviewing it. The Life of Chuck was directed by Mike Flanagan, written by Mike Flanagan and Stephen King, based off Stephen King books. Starring Tom Hiddleston, Jacob Tremblay, Benjamin Pajak, Mark Hamill, great cast, Karen Gillian, Shawad, I don't know how to say his name, so the main guy from the first part of the movie.
Mordo.
Mordo, yeah, from Marvel. The ratings of this movie is 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, and a 3.7 on Letterboxd. Zach, what is your rating on this movie?
So I gave it a 8.6. I thought it was a really enjoyable movie. It was definitely different than what I thought it was going to be, which we'll talk about that here in more greater detail. But overall, pretty good. I'd recommend it if you're into like unique movies, like something that hasn't really been done before. But also, if you're a Stephen King fan, then obviously this will be kind of right up your alley. But yeah, it's just something new, something fresh, something very different than the norm. But what about you? What are your ratings on it?
I gave it a 7.0. I was very confused the entire movie, but I do recommend it. It is very unique movie, very unique way of telling a story. And Zach, let's go ahead and get into your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this movie? How did you feel going through this movie? I think we're gonna go ahead and just go like straight spoilers.
Yeah.
But we do recommend it. Go have fun at the theaters if you're looking for something to watch. But Zach, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, so my first thought was, am I in the right movie? Because the way it opens up, it's so the first thing that I was really confused about is it's just Act 3. So there's 3 acts in the movie, just like like a 3-act play almost, and it's told in reverse. So you start with the end of the movie. Then you kind of get to the middle, then the beginning. And it's all about Chuck. It's the life of Chuck. It's very on the nose. And one thing I would like to, we already talked about, but the cast. So I put the cast, except for one person, as like things I know them in other projects. So we have Luke Skywalker. Shaggy makes an appearance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the like repairman guy. That's him. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. Matthew Lillard.
I love that guy. Yeah, he's such a good guy.
Dude, he's awesome. But yeah, he's the GOAT. But yeah, so Shaggy shows up. We have Nebula and Mordo. You have Karen Gillan and guy's name we can't pronounce.
Bro, that's a hard name.
It's I don't even want to try, bro. But Mordo, like, if you know, you know. The narrator was Nick Offerman. He played Ron in Parks and Recreation. And he's in sporadically, like in all kinds of other kind of media. So the voice is very distinct. Loki, because I mean, he's the main guy. Polka Dot Man makes a very brief appearance.
I was like, oh hey, Polka Dot Man.
I was so bewildered. I'm like, who all was in this movie? And then the only other one I had was what's his name? He was just in Captain America: Brave New World.
Isaiah?
Isaiah, the very first Captain America.
The only reason I know that is because in Brave New World, Sam literally screams, Isaiah!
Isaiah!
I'm like, oh, that's a name.
Nice. But yeah, so that stuck out to me. It's a very stacked cast. They were all incorporated pretty good. And yeah, kind of to your point, it was very confusing. It's one of those movies where you can't recreate the feeling the first time you watch it, in the sense of like, now that I know like how the movie is, like, and how it was structured, it would make more sense if I watched it again, but like it wouldn't have the same feel of like what is going on. Like you're trying to like slowly unravel everything, which I like that. I like movies like that are, like I said, kind of out there, kind of different. Because at first, the Act 3 itself, I was so confused. I'm like, where's Tom Hiddleston? They're 39 great years. Thank you, Chuck. And I'm like, what is happening? And then it's like the end of the world. I was just like, it was just like mind-boggling.
It was definitely confusing.
Yeah. And I have all kinds of stuff. I'll let you kind of piggyback on that and your original thoughts going into it.
There's a gnat. Yeah, so so like at first when I like started the movie, it says Act 3. And my first thought is like, crap, I missed 2 movies. I'm on the 3rd movie. I'm cooked. I'm about to miss like entire plot because it's already talking about Chuck dying and all that. Like I said, spoilers. We already said that in the beginning. But
Yeah.
Chuck dying from cancer and all that. So I'm like, what the heck? And then, I don't know. I just think it's such a... In my opinion, there's a lot of plot holes. That's why I give it a 7.0.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, the windows. He's all over the windows at the end of the world.
Right.
Thank you, Chuck, for this. And he's on the windows, right? They never explained that. How's he on the windows? They never explained that, right? And then he's like this like 30-something year-old man. No, he's like this. He's about to die,
He's
right?
39.
He's like 39 or something. And Mordo, we keep calling him Mordo. I'm so sorry. Marty and Felicia, that's their character names.
Yeah.
They're like, they're seeing this and they're a part of like that point, right? But if the story's going backwards, at the beginning, young Chuck talks to those characters.
So, yeah. So to clarify, okay. So I put this kind of I'm gonna explain this because this is a very easy thing to like kind of like slip by because in the beginning, so all of Act 3 is in Chuck's head. So like all those characters. So okay, do you remember towards the end of the movie when he's talking to the teacher about the I contain multitudes and was having her explain it, and she put her hands on his head and said everything here, all the people you meet, all the people you'll know live in here in your universe. That was his universe. That's why everything is being destroyed.
See, like, they gotta explain that, bro.
That's why that's why I'm like, it's a puzzle and you have to like solve it because it is confusing, but that's what that is. So all of Act 3 is in 39-year-old Chuck's head right as he dies. So as the world is being destroyed, and even the very last part, like, okay, the monitor's beeping in the hospital.
Yeah.
That was his monitor slowly getting closer to death. And then when the stars start blipping out and everything, that's him dying. So like, because that's why they show up later, like when he was a kid, like those were his teachers and they were together. So like he put them in his own story in his mind. And the roller skate girl you see in Act 2, she's in there. So like literally that's why like as you watch the movie, these people keep showing up that you saw at the beginning. That's them. But like he wrote them in his story. It's a confusing movie.
That's like the Prestige, bro.
Yeah,
you gotta watch it again.
I bet if you watched it again, I think you'd understand it a little bit better because it is a very because even I didn't understand until the very end. I was like, wait. Huh? Like, but that's the beauty of it is, yeah. So that's the whole, like, I contain multitudes. And it's a very cool, like, and there's just a lot of details. There's a lot to unpack throughout the movie. So, like, it's one of those movies I feel like, even myself, I feel like I'd benefit if I watched it again just to, like, understand it. Like, now that I understand the layout. Because that whole Act 3, the whole first portion of that movie, I was like just trying to decipher what's going on.
Yeah, because I was so confused. I was like, so the world's ending? Where is Chuck? Who is Chuck?
Yeah, that's it. Well, even and then like the Windows thing really confused me. I'm like, okay, now what is actually happening? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
And then so that's like it kind of shows different moments of his life. So there's times he's like stressed, there's times he's smiling happy, and then when he's older, it's like that's a whole thing. But yeah, that's why. So if you go into it watching where Act 3, you're like, okay, this is all his universe in his mind. Like, that's the beauty of it. It's a really cool concept, but it is very confusing, though. If that is a very important, like, plot detail.
Yeah.
But you're good. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, because I was like, the whole time I'm like, okay, what are these windows? I'm fascinated on these windows. Why are these windows say Chuck at the end? It never says. They never tell us. I'm like, Wait, I gotta figure that out myself. Why?
Yeah, literally, it's one of the, and that's just Stephen King in general. I feel like that's all his movies. I haven't seen very many of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because most of them are like horror movies, and I'm not the biggest horror person. But that is how he tells stories in movies, is like very much kind of, you have to decipher, you have to figure out like what's actually happening, because he's just a very unique individual.
Yeah.
So, and that movie was like a good point, because I was confused too, because like, again, I know Stephen King goes like, he's the horror dude everyone talks about, like there's the It clown and all that, you know.
Yeah.
So like I was like, why is this a movie that he? But then at the end I'm like, oh, it makes sense, because. But to that point though, there's a lot of like, so I want to hear your thoughts on this. Just from a cinematography like opinion, because to me some of the best parts of the movie was just the shots, like, and I'm not talking about like
shots.
not like you know, what was that movie, The Phoenician Scheme, not quite like that shots, but I just mean like the visuals, like the stars in the sky and stuff. I'm like, bro, that was cool. Like I like stuff like that that's like you don't often see. But
honestly, I thought the best shot and the best shot and sequence of the whole movie was the dancing scene. Like,
yes,
that was done very well, very unique, and I don't know, that really captivated the story for me. I was like, oh snap, this dude can dance.
Yeah, it like takes you right into the heart of it all. Is like I don't know. That's the thing I took it to, is like, if a whole overall message of this movie is life is short,
basically,
but life is beautiful.
Yeah. And
I was like it kind of leaves you like,
bro,
kind of depressed, but like, it's a good movie.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, because we're both believers. So like in the third act, when the world was ending, I was like, "Yep, this is gonna happen. Yep,
No,
yep.
literally,
he said it. He said it was gonna happen. This world's gonna fade away. I'm like, that's what the Lord said. Hey, y'all should have prepared.
We told you not to.
Yeah, but that's going through my mind. I was like,
I was thinking that too, because I was like, man, that would be, because imagine like that's how it. And like obviously we know what's gonna happen, but we don't know all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Revelations is confusing, y'all. Sorry, Revelation, but yeah. Actually,
it's high ground, not the high ground.
Yeah, get it right now. But that is something like cool to think, like end of the world and stuff, because like everything felt like, okay, yeah, this is how I kind of pictured it, until the stars started flipping out of the sky.
Oh gosh,
like I was scared, bro. I'm like, because I'm imagine you're just sitting outside, like no technology works anymore.
Yeah,
you have nothing, like nothing in the world works anymore. You just look up and you're just like, oh, the stars are beautiful tonight. wait. I
was like, okay, at least they got the stars. Okay, they don't have them no more. They're cooked.
God said, eat.
But yeah, I didn't actually really like the Act 3, 2, 1. Like,
oh yeah,
that was a really good thing.
It was so interesting,
because I thought something like crazy was gonna happen with Chuck, but I guess that makes sense, it being in his mind, because I don't know. I thought it was all going to be like he created this. I don't know. Besides some sci-fi thing, I guess.
Yeah. No, because it kind of is portrayed that way at first, but then you don't figure out like what actually happened until Act 1. So it's like,
yeah,
and that's one conversation. Like that's it. That's the only thing that explains it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, and that's the thing too. To have a movie where you know the main character dies from the get-go. Yeah. Also, to only live 39 years but sad. Like that, I was like, man. Like, to start doing math, you know? But that's the beauty of it, too. Though, is, so you know this, and you're like, okay, well, there's nothing, like, big, shocking moments that's going to get me. Then at the end, my favorite part of the whole movie that was really, like, the twist is the upstairs room that he was never allowed to go into because Mark Hamill's character was like, absolutely not. And he sees ghosts, and you find out he opens, and it's because he did legit see ghosts. He was seeing people dying. Yeah. So he saw like the two kids, he saw his wife, and then he saw himself. Then he was like grabbing his arm that night when Chuck tried to go in there. Yeah. And it's like, that's crazy. Like, but then I think that's the most beautiful scene too, because then Chuck sees it, he sees himself, and he's trying to figure out how old he is and all that. That's his first thought. But then he goes, I'm going to live my life to the utmost best I can before I die. And I'm not going to think about this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool. Like, that was a wholesome, like, takeaway. And then he just leaves the room. And then the end credits are just like the room. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But
something I do want to give props to is, man, that kid, Benjamin Pajak. I don't know if that's how you say your name. Dude, literally Tom Hiddleston, dude. Like, I was watching the movie, I was like, dang, this kid acts just like, if we need another young Loki,
I was just
cast the dude.
If we need a Loki flashback, hit that guy.
Like, literally, I was like, dang, this is a good casting for young
I think that's
Tom
the
Hiddleston.
funniest thing, because our interest in the movie started with Tom Hiddleston just being in it, because like, oh my gosh, like, you know, something that's not Loki, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and the fact he was barely even in the movie, well, I say barely, he was in it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wasn't like the most as himself, because there was the younger him and all that.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see, like, he was still in it based on that, despite that.
Yeah, that was definitely a nice thing to have in this movie, is that Chuck was the main character, Tom Hiddleston wasn't the main character.
Exactly.
There was like three Chucks, or I think there was a fourth Chuck, actually, because there's like a little kid.
Oh, yeah, technically.
But yeah, so like Chuck was the main character, Tom Hiddleston wasn't, and I think that's a really beautiful thing about this film, is that obviously they used Tom Hiddleston for marketing, which is good. Mm-hmm. They got us to watch it because we love Loki, right? But you know, you watching it, like, dang, Chuck is like a really unique character, and I'm like really invested in the story. Like, this dude's dancing, he's dying, he's math, bro. Like,
dude, that whole math thing was so funny to me when Mark Hamill's character is like explaining math, and like math, you know, solves everything. It does it. And my first thought was like, man, I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I was good at it, but also I'm like, okay, when you put it that way, like, sure, yeah, math is everywhere, but I felt bad for him though, Tom Hiddleston or Chuck, because he just wanted to dance, bro. His grandpa was like, my grandson will not be a dancer. That's what I took from it. I know that's not what he meant, so I'm not trying to say that. It's just a funny thing that I saw. I was like, man, that'd be tough. Imagine you like tell your parents and you're like, hey, so I'm gonna do this. I love doing this. Yeah, but math.
Oh, speaking of, because I know that wasn't Tom Hiddleston ever in the scenes with Mark Hamill, but since they were in the movie together, have you seen the fan castings? There has been fan castings of like Tom Hiddleston playing like a young Palpatine.
Oh,
like there's been like what fan art or whatever, and I was like, oh,
I could see that. Just them acting level, like I could see. Because Tom Hiddleston's been in a lot of stuff, but like I'll always see him as Loki, man.
Yeah.
He is such a good. Oh man, like I could talk for an hour about that. That's one of my favorite characters. But that would be very interesting. Just a young Palpatine, if we ever get that.
You know,
Disney.
Cool. I'm gonna be honest. That's all I got on this movie. Stephen King. It was based off a book called If It Bleeds.
Oh, okay.
I should probably start reading more books. So
that is one thing about this movie, because I didn't know it was based on a book.
Yeah,
which makes sense because Stephen King. But I'm like kind of want to just like read books that were turned into movies now. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because like the narrator, the whole movie. I was like, this sounds like it's being read from a book. It doesn't sound like it's like written out for the narrator.
No, I feel like they legit just took
parts of the book.
But I'm interested. I wonder if the book is also like Act 3, Act 2, Act 1.
I think so. That's why it's saying on
for real?
The good old Reddit. Act 3, the first chapter.
Interesting.
Chuck experiencing death while in a drug-induced coma. Yep.
Well, that's depressing.
Well, all right. Cool. Yeah, is that all you got for you?
That's all I got. That's all she wrote for Chuck.
So I do have a random question for you.
Oh yeah, okay.
Who do you want to play the next James Bond? Left field. Let's go.
Dude, we're gonna have a tally score of like when you get me, when you don't with random questions. I'd say right now probably Henry Cavill. Like I know that sounds like cliche or whatever, but like one, he's British, so like that's cool. But also like after seeing him in Mission Impossible, I'm like I could see it, and that's what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig is so good though. I don't know how you top that, to be totally honest. But
he was really good. Good James Bond.
What about you? Who would you fan cast?
That is my fan cast.
Henry Craig, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. He has that. I think he's done looking like. I mean, he is always going to be a Superman, but I think he's with David Cornsweet coming in. I think him being the Superman is going to fade away.
Yeah, so, probably.
Him taking on the role as James Bond would be really cool. Cool. Here you go.
Thank you.
Y'all, we're going to end the episode right there. But before we end the episode, y'all, we love Jesus. We love the Bible. We love sharing the Bible. And that is what I'm going to do right now. We are reading out of John 3:3. And it says, Jesus replied, I tell you the truth. Unless you are born again, you cannot see the kingdom of God. And the only way we can be born again is by believing that Jesus died and rose from the grave for our sins.